Chapter 235. I will surrender if you marry me. In the ancient times, there was an ancient country called Wuxia. Its king's cultivation level was divine, and he was invincible in the boundless realm. When he ascended to the upper realm, he created the Wuxia mystic realm, wanting the Wuxia kingdom to last forever. Unfortunately, after the ancient times, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth began to weaken. Wuxia nation had no successor, and there was internal strife. In the end, it was destroyed. The mystic realm entered the void and would only appear once every 100 years, as no one could occupy it alone and no one was qualified to control it. In the end, the various large factions compromised and shared the resources in it. Now, the boundless continent was mainly divided into 9 empires and a great demon kingdom. The various empires hosted the Immortal Tao Conference every 100 years. Not only was this to show their strength to the other empires, but it was also a way to select various geniuses from the various factions. Currently, Great Jin was suffering from internal strife. It was unknown if Wuxia wanted the demonic sects to display his strength in the conference or for some other reason, but it had offered generous rewards. It could be said to be the best in 1,000 years. The other empires had no choice but to follow. Even if there were fewer of them than the Great Jin Empire, they could still make the various large factions drool. In terms of who had the most resources on this continent, it would definitely be the royal family that controlled the empire. Among them, Great Jin was the most abundant. In a hilly area, thousands of flying Dharma treasures and even more Dharma treasures floated in the air, or stopped on the ground, emitting colorful lights. Songqi and Chen Yiling sat in the flying ship and approached. They looked at the dense crowd in the distance in shock. So many people have come this time. Chen Yiling took a deep breath. These were not ordinary people. They were all cultivators. Even the handymen were at least at the Khanate Chi refinement realm. You make it sound like you were here last time. Songqi retorted. Why do you care what I say? Chen Yiling hugged her sealed spiritual sword and snorted. Although the demon slayers and fiend eradicators are busy and haven't come, there are many people who can recognize me. You should consider how to let me continue to be your hostage. Songqi took out a mask and threw it to Chen Yiling. Put it on yourself. Next, I'll unlock a portion of the seal for you and make you my maid. He drew a line on Chen Yiling's body with his finger. 30% of Chen Yiling's true essence was loosened. Her cultivation became equivalent to an early-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Chen Yiling was secretly delighted. With 30% of her true essence, she might be able to break the seal and escape. You want to run? Give me your spiritual sword. Songqi could tell what Chen Yiling was thinking. He grabbed Chen Yiling's sword and kept it. You. Chen Yiling gritted her teeth. This guy had taken her sword. Even if she really escaped, she would have to come back and ask Songqi for the sword. Songqi grinned. If you dare to run, this sword will be mine. He ignored Chen Yiling's angry gaze and stood up to observe the center of the crowd. His pupils shrank. He realized that the various sects and factions were all on the second level. At the center were fully armed, uniform, and imposing armies. Compared to the cultivation sects with their own unique characteristics, the aura of each person in these armies was condensed into one. Even if a nascent soul cultivator were to face them, the results would be minimal. Songqi was deep in thought. Individuals are not as good as groups, especially large ones. Nowadays, what faction could compare to an army that obeyed orders? Not to mention that this was an army formed by cultivators. He estimated that such an army also knew battle formations. If they really attacked, they could even kill soul transformations cultivators. This was another reason why the Great Jin dynasty was able to suppress the various large factions. It was not only because of the existence of numinous treasures, but their large armies. However, with the internal strife, he estimated that the combat strength of these cultivator armies should have decreased. Remembering the dynasties in his previous life which had also fallen due to decay and corruption, Songqi felt that Great Jin could not avoid it. What? Are you frightened by the cultivator armies of the various countries? Chen Yiling teased when she saw Songqi in a daze. You're kidding. There aren't many things in the world that can scare me. Songqi retracted his gaze and made a hand seal to control his ship to fly towards Great Jin. The cultivators of this world gathered together. In fact, there were 10 regions in the center. Basically, the cultivation forces of different countries were in the same position. As for the other region, it belonged to the demonic beasts and belonged to the demonic kingdom that was independent of the human countries. However, the demonic beasts were not united internally. They would only temporarily gather together when facing the human race. This was the first time Sanshi had seen such a grand occasion. As he flew, he sighed repeatedly and felt that his trip was not in vain. On the side of Great Jin, the different forces are divided into small groups. Compared to the Thousand Poisons mountain range, the forces that came this time basically included the entire cultivation world of Great Jin. For example, the demonic sects, the three sects, the Yao Moon Palace, the righteous Qianzheng Academy, the Vajra sect, the Frost Jade Cave, the various kings of the opposite sects, and the Yi family. The forces that were neither righteous nor evil included the Heaven Secret Office, the Flower Room, and so on. However, Sangshi's attention was still attracted by the army of cultivators from Great Jin. There were more than 10,000 of them. They were all at the Foundation Establishment realm and above. They wore black dragon pattern dharma and held spears. Their blood chi was like a dragon and they looked fierce. This is the Jin Dragon Army of Great Jin. Chen Yiling was extremely proud. Sangshi's interest was piqued as he thought to himself, they should be able to kill me many times. You're not afraid? Chen Yiling saw that Sangshi's expression was off and asked curiously. I'm not afraid. I'm looking forward to them ravaging me. Sanshi grinned, looking a little perverted. We will. Chen Yiling hesitated for a moment before saying, didn't you ask who else we will take the opportunity to attack? Actually, it's not just our demon slayers. The fiend eradicators will also attack. There are other departments, such as the military. Sangshi's pupils constricted. In that case, is there still the Jin Dragon Army? You guys are really generous. You said that I would be trampled on by the Jin Dragon Army. Could it be? That's right. The Yi family has already used their Jin Dragon token. They should be attacking the Heavenly Ghost sect now. You're lucky and are safe for the time being. However, if you continue to work for the Heavenly Ghost sect, you won't be able to escape. Chen Yiling revealed a piece of earth-shattering news. Sanshi took a deep breath. You guys are ruthless. Aren't you afraid of provoking a fierce counterattack? You're all rebelling. Why are you being polite? Chen Yiling's eyebrows became sharper. That's true. Stealing a house in secret is better than fighting its owners head-on. Sanshi nodded and sighed. What a pity. I've only stayed in one place all this time, and my house is about to be torn down. When he thought of Bai Shaokan, his expression changed and he became fearful. Fortunately, he had left behind the battle puppet and the teleportation talisman. If she could not win, she could still escape. Bai Shaokan was basically not in any danger. Actually, this matter has something to do with you. Originally, the Jin Dragon Army wouldn't be mobilized easily, but you killed the head of the Yi family and forced them to mobilize the army with the Jin Dragon token. That's why you could be attributed as the root cause of this ambush. Chen Yiling explained some of the reasons. Sanshi was stunned. He silently flew towards the Heavenly Ghost sect and suddenly looked at Chen Yiling. Are you saying all this to recruit me or to show concern for me? Chen Yiling looked away uncomfortably and snorted. I think you're a talent and you're not a bad person yourself. Naturally, in trying to recruit you, oh. Sanshi smiled meaningfully. That's not impossible. However, I can surrender if you agree to marry me. Yaoish. Chen Yiling rolled her eyes. Boo-hoo. At this moment, a woman's cry sounded. Sanshi felt that the sound was a little familiar. He looked down and saw that Lu Yuiao was crying so hard that her eyes were red.